Hey gang, this is DJ. I wanted to show off something that I have been thinking about and made a little graphic for, and that is how big is Ansalon? Yeah, as I've read the books over the years, it always seemed like just such a massive place, right? Like the first book entirely kind of takes place down here, and I imagined the like weeks, months it took for them to travel that far. And eventually they go all over the place. They go down to the ice wall glacier, and over here in the east they go into the maelstrom. They make it to Ergoth, and eventually here to the High Claris Tower in Palanthas, all in the Chronicles trilogy. And in my imagination, like, this place is just massive. Like, I don't know, is it bigger than Europe? I don't know, is it bigger than the States? How big are Europe and the States if you compare the two? So I just wanted to put like a real world context to it to help me understand a little better. Let me get this out of the way. So here's what I did. I compared. I've got a bunch of maps from Dragonlance. This one has a distance key, so miles here are that big. So first thing I did was figure out, just basically take that and copy and paste it next to each other to come up with this. This is sort of the size from, the farthest. It's from the ruins of Aleth, the westernmost tip of the Sankrist Isles, all the way over to um, Rand Paul in the easternmost edge of the Misty Isles, the easternmost point in the continent of Ansalon, in the world of Krynn. So if we count this up, and I've alternating color coded it, so that the four black white then becomes four grays. So we add this all up. So each quad is 100 miles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So right here is the 1,200 mile mark. So each individual one of these is about, so it's a little shy of 1,225. So let's call it, 1,223 or something like that. 1,223 miles. That's how wide Ansalon is. Awesome. Well, I don't know. I think humans these days don't have a good conception of even how far that is. Like, I don't know how wide is the United States. So let's compare them. Here's the United States. If we get rid of this, so what in here are 2 points that are roughly 1,226 miles apart? So I just captured a picture, and I started measuring things, and it turns out these 2 points from Los Angeles to Fort Worth, so about half the width of the United States at this latitude, is about a little over 1,200 miles. So that is the size of the entire Ansalon map. So if we now scale it up, so there is a kind of a zoom in on just that distance. But that's a little smaller than here. So let's scale it up and bring it up to the full size. So there we are. Now they're kind of like perfectly matching, within 5 or 10 miles or so, right? Pretty close. So there we go. Los Angeles to Fort Worth, Texas. If we superimpose these two and play with the opacity slider a little bit, you can kind of see this comparison, what's in between. So, here is the edge. I can't hold my finger to the screen, have you guys see it. So there we go. A couple of observations I made. So how far is, so for example, say, how long does it take to get from Solus to Thorbard? How far is that? So I kind of measured it off a little bit, with my hand. You're not going to see that, but it's about 96 miles. If you take, here, let's even do it. let's take one of these guys. If I go to one of my mile, let's just go right here. So here's 100 miles. Great. Copy that. Let's paste it. We could move it down here. All right, so there's our point of reference. Okay, so there's our 100 miles. Let's just kind of stick it in the sea here. And then we can use that as a point of reference between things. All right, so let's compare Solus to Thorbarden. Yeah, about 100 miles. There we go. So an equivalent distance in the United States is roughly Long Beach to San Diego is also about 100 miles. I was born in Long Beach, so that is a meaningful distance to me. For people who aren't from around here, maybe that's not, but that kind of puts some perspective. You know, it takes, I don't know, what, 3-4 hours to drive to San Diego. Why isn't my transform working? There we go. So it's a little farther than that. Maybe from San Diego. Yeah, San Diego to LA. There we go. That's about the distance of Thorbarden to Solus. So how long would it take you to walk that distance? You know, 100 miles. You know, I'm thinking, well, you know, if you go 20 miles a day, it's about a 5-day walk. Although they're going through mountains and woods and all kinds of shit, right? So it's, you know, maybe it's a 2-week walk to get to Thorbarden, or maybe, who knows, maybe longer. Anyway, I thought that was a little fascinating. I was curious about that. So yeah, about roughly. So zooming out to the full U.S. map again. So if you look at it, Los Angeles to Fort Worth is about halfway. So Ansalon fits into about the left half of the United States in this map in terms of real world scale. So there we go. I thought that was a little fascinating. I hope you found this interesting. This is DJ. Take care.